I strove to understand her labyrinthine philosophy, the source of her mysterious pain. Everything about her was dark and shrouded. Her mystery was as essential to her as savagery was to Boethia, or treachery was to Molag Bal. To understand Nocturnal is to negate her, to pull back the curtains cloaking her realm of darkness. As much as I loved her, I recognised the futility of unravelling her enigmas. And with those wise words in mind, perhaps it's best to cut this video short, and not delve into Nocturnal's secrets. Thanks for watching guys, my name is Drew and I'll see you next time. Alright, maybe not. We've unearthed all the clandestine morals and motives behind the spheres of the other Daedric princes, and we've told their stories thoroughly enough to understand them almost as well as we'd understand mortals. No matter how averse the Night Mistress may be to our investigation, I'm willing to risk provoking her ire in the name of discovery, and because this Daedrologist needs to put food on the table. Frivolity aside, let's get serious, because the Daughter of Twilight warrants veneration. Nocturnal is perceived to be a great many things. Some are true while most are misguided. The unfathomable Nocturnal is misunderstood, and her sphere of influence relies upon such perplexity. What's most interesting, however, as I'm going to get into in this video, is her unique relationship with the mortals of Mundus. Those who do have some understanding of her acknowledge that she does not care for having a legion of loyal followers. Those associated with her are quite often just that, associates. They are mortals with values and ambitions similar to her own, and where there are common goals, there are opportunities for them to assist one another in bringing their goals to fruition. As the legendary Nightingales suggest, those under her patronage consider their bond a business transaction, approached with mutual respect rather than blind piety. But where there is ambition, there is often treachery, and Nocturnal is no stranger to deceit. Hey guys, it's Drew here and welcome back to Fudge Muppet. As I'm sure you've deduced by now, we're going to be delving into the known lore of Nocturnal, her personality and her relationship with mortals. So let's start off by getting to know a little bit more about her sphere of influence. Nocturnal is the Daedric prince of the night and the darkness. She goes by many names, for no one name can really capture who she is. She is a stranger even to her most loyal followers. Some call her the Mistress of Shadows, others the Unfathomable, or the Empress of Murk. Other known names include the Daughter of Twilight, the Mistress of Mystery, Lady Luck, the Saint of Suspicion, and Dra. While most of these sound like a superhero's pseudonyms, one of them is not like the others. Dra essentially means the first, the original darkness or the original Daedra, but while it is commonly accepted that Nocturnal is Dra, I believe this is a major misconception. But I'll hold off on talking more about this until we finish learning who Nocturnal truly is. Aside from her affinity with the shadows and the world after dusk, Nocturnal is best known as the patron Daedra of the Thieves Guild. Her relationship with the guild's members is an interesting one, nothing like your typical Daedra worshipper relationship. When not veiled by opaque shadows, Nocturnal is described as resembling a human woman, garbed in a cowled cloak, usually open enough to display a bit of tasteful chest. Thieves are quite fond of distractions. It makes stealing from those affected considerably easier, so maybe that explains her choice of apparel when manifesting in front of mortals. Nocturnal is usually depicted accompanied by two birds. Depending on the rendition, they may be nightingales or crows or ravens. Nocturnal's realm of Oblivion is called the Evergloam. It is a realm of perpetual twilight. The Evergloam is blanketed in a layer of fog which never subsides. The gloomy violet hue of the realm is perfect for going unnoticed, and it is believed that here the luck of all thieves is sourced. The luck seeps through the Ebonmere, a portal between the Evergloam and the Mundus. It is the conduit through which Nocturnal influences the mortal world. She does not share magic or blessings, only pure unquantifiable luck. Fortune is the thief's greatest companion, and mortals will go to extreme lengths to tap that resource. Luck is synonymous with Nocturnal, because like her you can't really understand it, or even know when you have it. Fortune manifests itself in the natural unfolding of events, entwined with fate and consequence. Nocturnal has 3 known artifacts, as well as 1 item of profound importance, though not technically an artifact. That item is the Eye of Nocturnal, and all we really know about this object subject is that it was stolen from the Daedric Prince. Her least known artifact is called the Bow of Shadows. This ancient weapon is believed to have been forged by Nocturnal, and it bestows the wielder with invisibility and increased movement speed. The first of her two infamous artifacts is the Grey Cowl of Nocturnal, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with this hood. This cowl was once worn by the prince herself, and it obscures the face of the wearer, making them anonymous when wearing it. Inscribed on the cowl in the language of the Daedra are the words "Shadow hide you." The abilities of this artifact have changed over time, and the hood was so valuable that an Elder Scroll was used to lift a curse from it. There are several stories of mortals stealing this artifact from Nocturnal, including the events of the book Purloined Shadows and the Song of Hrothmir, but regardless of how it was taken, deception was clearly involved, as Nocturnal cursed the cowl. She said, "Whosoever wears it shall be lost in the shadows. His true nature shall be unknown to all who meet him. His identity shall be struck from all records and histories. Memory will hide in the shadows, refusing to record the name of the owner to any who meet him. He shall be known by the cowl and only by the cowl." The Night Mistress's choice of curse was interesting. As for a true thief, this almost sounds like a blessing. It perfectly aligns with her sphere of anonymity and disguise. One could use the cowl to steal riches, and the Grey Fox will take all of the culpability. Perhaps the curse was a test of vanity, to weed out the thieves who were in it for fame and glory. Either way, the curse was lifted by the power of an Elder Scroll. After being stolen by the first Guildmaster of the Thieves Guild, Emer Dariloth, the cowl was passed down to each new Guildmaster in turn, and the deeds of these men were forgotten, their handiwork credited to the Fox. Count Corvus Umbranox was the Grey Fox who orchestrated the theft of the Elder Scroll. With its power, the names of the former wearers were restored to history. The book Purloined Shadows gives a detailed account of the cowl's theft from Nocturnal, and while names are not used in the book, likely due to the presence of the curse, it is almost certainly the story of Dariloth. A master thief enlists the help of a young girl before venturing into the forest to witness the summoning of the Daedric Prince by a coven of witches. Nocturnal stood in the centre of the circle, the tree of pallid crows her throne, aloof as the witches continued their chanting, dropping their robes to prostrate themselves naked before their great mistress. Wrapping her nightcloak around her, she smiled at their song. It spoke of her mystery, of veiled beauty, of eternal shadows and a divine future when the sun burns no more. Nocturnal let her cloak slide from her shoulders and was naked. Her witches did not raise their head from the ground, but continued their hymn of darkness. The master was nowhere to be seen, and the girl waited anxiously to steal the cloak when the master's promised distraction came. "Mistress, a thief, behind you!" The witches raised their heads and screamed, ruining the sanctity of the ceremony, as they charged forward. The crows awoke and burst from the tree in an explosion of feathers and toad-like cries. Nocturnal herself whirled around, affixing the girl with her black eyes. "Who art thee who dares profane?" The princess hissed as the pitch shadows flew from her body, enveloping the girl in their lethal chill. In the last instant before she was swallowed alive by darkness, the girl looked to the ground and saw that the cloak was gone, and she answered as she understood. "Oh, who am I? I'm the distraction." There is a trend with Nocturnal's artifacts, more so than any other prince. Nocturnal's always seem to end up stolen. Her eye was stolen, her cowl was stolen, as was her final artifact, which we'll talk about very soon. Some may begin to question her power. How can the Prince of Darkness, the patron of thieves, be such a fool? Doesn't she know better than to allow a measly mortal to take her sacred heirlooms? I believe Nocturnal could stop these heists with ease if she wanted to. I think it's symbolic of her sphere. Nocturnal is Lady Luck. She blesses ambitious mortals with shadows to shroud their illegal acts. It comes back to the point I made right at the beginning, and the overarching point of the whole video. Nocturnal doesn't want pious worshippers, praying their lives away until their knees are scraped and bruised from grovelling. She actually respects the mortals who look to her for favour. She offers them luck in exchange for their service. She is responsible for making a successful thief, there's no doubt about that. If she took away a thief's fortune, they would be dead or in a cell, no matter how skilled they may be. Therefore, it seems clear that Nocturnal grants each thief with the potential to steal from anyone, even herself. She appreciates the balls it takes to bite the hand that feeds. Taking her artifacts is like the natural endpoint for a thief becoming as talented and capable as possible. If they get away with it, good on them. But if she catches them, we'll expect a curse similar to the one she put on the cowl. Nocturnal getting burgled may seem ironic, but I think it's fitting. Nocturnal's final artifact is called the Skeleton Key. This artifact was stolen too, sometime prior to the 201st year of the Fourth Era by Mercer Frey, the Guildmaster of the Skyrim branch of the Thieves Guild. This artifact is arguably the most powerful of all the Daedric artifacts, rivaled by Nocturnal's other artifact, the Cowl. In fact, we discussed this in great detail in our video What is the strongest Daedric artifact in the Elder Scrolls, which I highly recommend checking out. The Skeleton Key works as a master key to all locks on Mundus, but this does not only apply to physical locks, it can also unlock the metaphysical. It is the key to open the Ebonmere, and it can also open portals, hidden potential, and other unknown possibilities. What exactly this means is nigh impossible to comprehend. It seems like this artifact can unlock anything. In the wrong hands, this artifact could be incredibly dangerous. Such powerful artifacts, plus her sphere of shadows, anonymity, and disguise, makes for a daunting combination. The cowl can guarantee someone freedom from consequence, while the key can access all things both physical and metaphysical. It's very fortunate that Nocturnal doesn't appear to be as sadistic as, say, Molag Bal, for if she was, it could be catastrophic for the mortals of Mundus. Now let's take some time to talk about what I think makes Nocturnal so different to the other Daedric princes. The Mistress of Mystery has a very unique relationship with mortals. You could make the case that Nocturnal has one of the biggest followings of all the princes, yet she does not have worshippers. Aside from some fanatic witches in remote covens, Sigilla Parat was one such witch, but she could not understand Nocturnal and soon turned to Azura. Nocturnal's relationship with mortals is best shown through the Thieves Guild and the Nightingales. Gallus Desidenius, the former guildmaster of Skyrim's Thieves Guild and former Nightingale before his betrayal at the hands of Mercer, documented the specific functions of the secret Nightingale Order. Our Trinity serves the Lady Nocturnal, the Empress of Murk and the Daughter of Twilight. We believe her to be our patron, if not the patron of all thieves worldwide. We serve her without prayer, without charity and without celebration. Our bond with Nocturnal is in the form of a business transaction we strike known as the Oath. Her terms are simple and binding. As Nightingales, we are required to guard the Twilight Sepulchre, the Temple of Nocturnal, against those perceived as a threat. In return, we are allowed to use our abilities as Nightingales to further our own means and the means of the Thieves Guild. Upon our death, we are bound to the Twilight Sepulchre as guardian spirits until such time as Nocturnal feels our contract has been fulfilled. Our ultimate fate lies within the Evergloam, Nocturnal's realm. There, our spirits become one with Shadow itself, and we become the cloak which envelops all of our fellow thieves in their endeavours. This is the true origin of the phrase "walk with the shadows," uttered within the Thieves Guild. The Twilight Sepulchre is more than simply a temple of Nocturnal. If it served no further purpose, there would be no reason for it to exist at all. Nocturnal doesn't care for being worshipped, so why would she seek to protect her temple? Well, this temple houses the Ebonmere, the portal to Nocturnal's realm, the Evergloam. Should the Skeleton Key be stolen, it falls upon the Nightingales to suppress their selfish desires and reclaim the artifact for Nocturnal. Even the most loyal of the Night Mistress's followers are not blind servants. They serve their own ends, and Nocturnal expects nothing less from them. Were she to seek noble knights to protect her temple, it would contradict her sphere, for knights do not seek salvation in the shadows. If you are drawn to Nocturnal in the first place, you cannot be trusted. And that isn't meant as an insult, but rather an inevitability. Nocturnal is the patron of thieves, and therefore she knows not to expect to turn them into worshippers. This arrangement suits her well, because as the witch Sigilla Parat suggested in her attempts to follow her, Nocturnal's mystery defines who she is. She is not supposed to be understood, and that is why she will never be subject to worship. She is instead subject to veneration from those who understand the value of her sphere. Shadows, anonymity, the ability to go completely unnoticed. You can't comprehend what is at the core of an enigma. Interpretations of meetings with Nocturnal seem to portray her as world-weary and depressed. And maybe that is because her sphere so closely represents total darkness and nothingness. For her to receive recognition for such a sphere is anathema to her purpose. And while that really is all there is to say about Nocturnal, there is one loose end yet to be tied up. I spoke briefly of the term Dra, one of the many names given to Nocturnal, and one I claim to be a misconception. This name is given to Nocturnal because mortals perceive her as being an aspect of the void itself. This connection is easy to draw, seeing as she is the Prince of Shadows and the Night. But if you watch my recent video on Namira, you'll know that this is the prince truly deserving of the title Erdra. Namira is the representative of the ancient darkness, a darkness fundamentally different to Nocturnal's. Nocturnal's darkness is more superficial than Namira's. Nocturnal's darkness is empowering. You can hide within the folds of her darkness. You can feel a sense of power when immersed in Nocturnal's darkness, as whatever dubious deeds you're engaged in are masked by her gloomy veil. But that is not the void. You can't hide in the void, and if you try you will simply cease to be. The shadows give you a tactical advantage, while Namira's ancient darkness is not sensory deprivation, it's the complete absence of everything. So where does this misconception stem from? I'd make the case that mortals don't want to think about the true ancient darkness, because that is a terrifying prospect for creatures that will one day inevitably die and enter the void. Mortals are afraid of that reality, so instead they'd rather think Erdra, the original darkness, means an eternal embrace with the beautiful mistress Nocturnal. And there you have it guys, everything there is to know about a Daedric prince you can't possibly know. Thanks so much for watching, I've been Drew and I will see you next time.